Halo 4 marks the return of the Master Chief.
The Master Chief.
The Master Chief?
He's the chief of the masters. Or the master of the chiefs. We'll never know until we play it. And we did. Here's a review.
Where are we?
And so you come at last.
Cortana? What is it?
We are Forerunners, guardians of all that exists.
So, Halo 4, new studio, new game.
It's a whole new world. Cue the music.
Bungie is gone. It's 343 Industries.
But it's kind of weird though because 343 is pretty much just like people from Bungie.
Yeah,
right? So
a lot of people.
it's kind of the same.
Now, to start, are you like a big Halo guy or like a?
I'm not a big Halo guy. I enjoy it. I've been playing it since the first one came out. I remember those days.
Yeah, me
as
well.
The days of the first Halo, and I was like, this is gonna change games forever, and it did.
You don't read the books?
No.
No. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's bring up the.
Well, actually, we'll get to that though.
Yeah. Let's. We can just go right into the story then.
All right. So, Halo 4 takes place 4 years.
After.
See that? 4 years. Halo 4.
I like that.
They're so fucking clever. And Mr. Master Chief's floating about in a spaceship, and then
alone.
And then you crash land on the alien planet.
And you gotta fight more.
You gotta fight aliens. So the story. Campaign I had fun with.
Yeah.
Story, wasn't really feeling it. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of cool stuff that happened in campaign.
Oh, yeah.
The cinematics. Wow.
There were a lot of like moments where
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow!" Like
Yeah.
usually when I play Halo, I'm just like, "Oh, Halo is so cool." But it's
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah,
This is the first time I played Halo.
A lot
I'm
of
just
big
like,
stuff happens.
Whoa!
And this is like the first like Halo continuity game that's got like actual cinematics. Like usually all the Halo games are like in-game cinema, and now it's like actual rendered and everything.
And they were great.
It looked. I couldn't tell if it was real or not.
Yeah.
It was actually really good.
They were really great.
But back to the story.
It was
Didn't-
simple. I think
It
that
was too simple.
It was very simple, and it kind of poured over into the gameplay. There weren't a lot of enemy types. There
No,
wasn't really a lot of levels.
And I think that it was kind of rushed because even Master Chief says like, "Oh, what are the Covenant doing here? We had a truce." I'm like, well. Yeah,
That's one big problem I had.
I'm like, yeah, they did have a truce, so why are they here? It just felt like they just shoehorned them into the game because they're like, oh, it's Halo, we gotta have the Covenant.
I know there's gonna be someone who's like, well, in the books, or like,
No.
oh, well, it's a separate Covenant entity. Whatever.
That answer is invalid because
They should have.
They should have put it in the
thrown
game.
in something and been like, well, you know, Chief.
And another thing, the new enemies, the Prometheans and the Didact.
Yeah.
Who the shit was the Didact? I looked it up, and apparently the Didact is explained in the books. That is still not a valid
They didn't
answer.
do a very good job. They didn't do like a clean job of explaining him. I kind of got who he was, but I kind of feel like I made up some of it.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling. It was like they were trying to tell you this whole big story of like the ancient humans and the Forerunners and is the Didact a Forerunner? Are the humans the Forerunners? I thought the humans were Forerunners.
Science.
Okay.
But I liked everything that they had going on with Cortana and the Chief.
That was pretty cool. Because in Halo 3, they kind of had the same thing with Cortana going crazy, and I thought that was kind of getting a little lame.
Yeah.
But they kind of made it better in this one,
Yeah.
only because of like the visuals. It's like every time she went crazy, like your visor was going nuts. That was
and they just
cool,
had they had her face up in your visor. You're kind of just more connected to her because she wasn't just a voice in your helmet as much.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
But that ties over to the gameplay. All right, now in the campaign, I liked it, but I felt a lot of it was really just, I don't want to use the word repetitive, but a lot of just go here 3 times and put Cortana in the thing.
Yes, I was trying to figure out a way to say that in this review, but like you said it perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm like, there were a lot of missions where you have to do stuff to do other things. It's like you have to turn the shields off to go here, and you have to activate.
But there's
the
3 of
portal.
them. And then there was 3 of everything that you had to do to get somewhere.
So you have to go and turn the shields off to get to and then you got to turn off the littler shield to get through the gate, and then you got to open the locks to the gate, and it just never felt like you went on a mission. There was one mission in the game where you had to blow up like the guns, the giant, like that was like the only mission.
All right, can we just talk about that when you get to drive the Pelican? That was second time. It almost reminded me of Star Wars going through the Death Star.
That was great.
That was amazing.
That was a great level.
That was excellent.
And the rest just felt like standard gameplay. And not saying that's a bad thing. Gameplay, even though it was repetitive, it was still good.
I mean, I know it's short and it has a lot of shortcomings, but I put it right behind the first one in terms of just whoa.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess because like you said, like the crazy set pieces happen and stuff like that, and that's fun. But just in Halo 2 and 3, they just felt like there was so much more story going on. And, like, there was so much more of, like, an impending threat. Like, we gotta save the galaxy. And this one was, we gotta stop the Didact from doing something.
Stuff to Earth.
His whole motivation kind of felt like...
Unclear?
Yeah, unclear and just, it's the bad guy, and we gotta stop the bad guy. And there's a bad guy, and we gotta stop him.
I actually was bothered kind of with the human involvement.
Yeah.
Because I like when it started out and you're like lost in space, you're floating through space, it's years later, and you land on a planet. I'm like, oh cool, it's just us in space.
Yeah, like I thought it was gonna be like that until you saw the first trailer of Halo 4 when the big ship comes. I'm like, oh well.
We're back.
Yeah.
But I did like the human characters, like Lasky.
Yeah, like
something about their faces, the facial animations are great.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I couldn't tell if it was like real or not.
I really liked all of them. Like, Lasky was kind of like a Joe somebody, and he was just a nice guy, but I liked him.
But with the human, I know this is a nitpicky kind of thing, but the Marines that you fight around with, this game they felt especially cheesy. Like the cheesy, they brought it up to 100%.
They all looked like they were from Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
And they were like, take that, you aliens! I think we should get to the next big stuff. We leave campaign behind. Multiplayer.
Yes. Spent quite a bit of time with it.
Love it.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. It feels like an actual sequel to Halo. In this aspect, with Halo Reach and all this other Halo stuff that's come out, nothing. Even with Halo 3, nothing has felt like a big step.
Incremental,
in multiplayer. It just all felt the same. The biggest steps they've taken in the Halo games is that you get new armor, and that's pretty much like the newest stuff in multiplayer. But this time, they really went all out. All the new stuff is great. It all works great. And it's fun.
Game modes are really improved.
It is, and like the way you can customize your Spartan, like with his powers.
Yeah.
Like you can have different powers and stuff. It's all really balanced. I thought that some powers were gonna be like outweighing other ones, but everything is pretty balanced, and I've got no complaints at all about multiplayer.
With the new weapons, I almost thought. I was a little worried that things would be unbalanced. At first, when I started playing, I'm like, well, this is really overpowered, and this is really overpowered. But they all kind of counterbalance each other, and with the abilities thrown in, it all kind of just meshes together really well.
It's great.
But I definitely feel like they did spend more time on the multiplayer than they did the campaign.
Of course they did.
Probably even just with the campaign length, it was short. But the multiplayer is just so good.
Yeah, which is kind of makes up for the lacking story of the campaign, because I'm playing the multiplayer a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It hasn't... Because usually when I'm playing even with Halo games and I play a lot, I usually get bored after a couple days, but it's still going for me.
We talked about multiplayer, we talked about campaign.
I think we wrapped it up pretty good.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go on to spoiling
Let's do it.
the spoilers. That was the worst last boss fight. Probably in...
yeah, I didn't really like it either because you didn't really do anything.
Not did you only not do anything, it's like it was a quick time thing, and it was a one-button quick time event.
And it was just so quick, you couldn't even really tell.
Yeah, I'm like, is that it? I won. The game's over.
I like the idea of dispatching the boss, like, really quickly, like so it, like, gives you kind of like a wow. But that wasn't really it didn't really... It was just kind of like you did something stupid, like you leave a grenade on him?
Yeah, but it's like they built it up in the trailers like an ancient evil, and they show him he's got like psychic powers, and I was thinking you're going to have a huge boss fight where he's throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
And but it was just you just killed people.
Yeah.
Cortana dies at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was necessary though, because
the end of an era, yeah.
It was just like, I don't know how long that could have kept going.
You know when they're standing there, though, and they're talking to each other at the end, and, like, she's kind of like, I have to go, and he's like, wait, I will save you. And I wanted to be like, say you love her. I don't care if she's a robot. Say you love her. And he didn't.
I don't know. I thought Master Chief was a little out of character, even though he doesn't really have a character.
No, he doesn't.
I just, like... Usually he looks like the kind of guy who would be very logical, and he would like see a computer program is dying and be
he
like,
was very
okay.
headstrong in this one. I beat it on hard, but I looked up the legendary ending,
yeah,
and it was just 0.2 seconds different,
It was cool, but usually for when you play on Legendary, you play on Legendary to kind of get that extra ending. Every Halo game
like an extra scene.
Yeah, an extra scene. This is literally 2 seconds.
And it shows you see the mask comes off usually and
you don't see Master Chief's face. You see like
his eye hole.
This much of his face.
Yeah, but it's like his eyes are darkened anyway, so you can't see his eyes.
Yeah, and that's the only thing you get for
still a big tease.
It was a big tease.
But I was like, he's white. So mad.
What were you hoping he would be? Asian? At the end, 343 was like, this is the first step in our new universe of like they're making a new trilogy, right? There's gonna be a 5 and 6. Yeah. I don't like. What are they? I mean, like they've done so much with this, and it looks like they're gonna be doing this Spartan Ops thing for a while. I'm kind of concerned that Halo 5 is just gonna be Halo 4.2. You know, like
I hope it's not. I feel like this was like they were very safe. Like I said, there's only a couple new enemy types. The story was very simple and very short. I feel like they were just treading the water.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the next one, it could be really excellent, or since they're finally doing their own thing, it could be a mess.
It could. They've done pretty good this time. They have the potential to completely fall off the bus.
Yeah.
But they could also do good.
But it was a good attempt. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, overall, it's a great game.
That being said, let us know what you guys think about the story without spoiling anything in the comments. Let us know. Let me and Mike know how you're playing the multiplayer, what your favorite game mode is, stuff like that. And that's pretty much it.
Humanity stands as the greatest threat in the galaxy. The Forerunners have returned.